When I tell you my eyes are 100% gonna need a break because looking at this much yellow is just not good for the sight.
Always eat the one you love.
You know, I thought I was bugging because I was sitting here swearing that there was a third yellow gang and I don't know where I conjured them up from. But there is only two. Yellow is a bright color that's often associated with happiness because it's the color of sunshine, you know? Unlike colors like purple, red, or green, people have to be reminded that yellow does have negative aspects of it. Aspects such as cowardice. And I mentioned the cowardice aspect in my previous Heather's video. Probably at a glance, both the Ronin and the Vice Kings don't really seem all that similar, but as shown with my red video, color can be a very uniting thing. You know what else is uniting? Their attachment to dirty money. And that's because yellow is a color that is also often associated with greed.
Do you want it?
I don't want it.
Because you're asking for it. You're dying for it.
The Vice Kings are truly the baddest bitches out of every gang in the entire series, aesthetic-wise, and the yellow really sells that. The Vice Kings' yellow is meant to make you think of gold. They're supposed to give off this air of luxury that can rival that of the Carnales. They truly capture that specific imagery of that section of Black American culture that heavily indulges in American consumerism. That I shop, therefore I am type of mindset that influences a lot of American culture in general. That piece of Black culture in the US is also what heavily influences both Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2's aesthetic. On the Vice Kings, yellow represents things like intellect and creativity, but also deception, betrayal, and egotism. I think what makes it interesting is that their positive qualities are really the qualities of Ben King, not the gang as a whole as we see through the Vice King storyline. Ben King is the intelligent one, Ben King is the creative one. As much as Warren and Tanya wouldn't want to admit it, they are where they are within this whole thing because of
Benjamin motherfucking King.
With Ben, you also get another aspect of yellow being perception, especially with his famous quote.
I did it by knowing when it was time to build, when it was time to watch, and when it was time to act.
You don't see those elements in other Central Vice King members all the time, but you do see it in the actions the Saints have to take against the Vice Kings. They have to play smart because of King, and once it becomes clear that King is not really a factor in some of these operations, they can kinda let loose. The negative aspects of the gang like egotism and deception are present in characters like Warren and Tanya. Warren in particular also represents the impatience of yellow. Both Tanya and Warren are two massive egos that inevitably clash against each other and essentially cause the gang to crumble. In the end, it was inevitable. The Vice Kings were essentially battling fading relevancy, with the Carnales being this legacy mainstay, and gangs like the Saints and the Rollers being the vivacious newcomers in a climate where the Vice Kings were once the sleek new things themselves. Funnily enough, their end is pretty much like the Saints. It happens because of a lack of stability. For instance, there's no doubt that Aisha is among many artists that are trapped by Kingdom Come Records. They don't have a stable foundation, they merely leech off of others, with the only outs for their artists being to seemingly rise in the ranks of the gang or fake your death. Which, yeah, leeching is a thing for a lot of the gangs, but some are more prevalent than others. And the Vice Kings are one of them.
You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong?
Yellow for the Ronin stands for pretty much the same things. Also, the Ronin have the same issue where the gang's more positive qualities like intellect is more attributed to one member of the gang rather than the gang as a whole. That member obviously being Junichi, with Shogo, like Warren and Tanya, embodying deception. Shogo also represents cowardice. I said that both the Vice Kings and the Ronin share a connection to their dirty money. With the Vice Kings, their dirty money is their ill-gotten gains. Once that's threatened, they implode. It's the same for the Ronin with their robbed casino money basically being the center of their own implosion. With both gangs, there's already tension that the Saints unknowingly make worse. The tension for the Ronin being between Shogo and Junichi, with Junichi getting the love and respect from Akuji that Shogo desires. On Junichi's end, he doesn't really respect Shogo, and it's clear that this tension has always been there. And coming to the US with Junichi being forced to answer to him instead, Shogo definitely thought Junichi would fall in line, and that didn't happen. It was his moment to not only prove himself to his father, but also Junichi, and that didn't happen. Both men represent egotism in this case. At the end of the day, neither wanted to back down for the sake of the gang, and it just made things worse. Their hatred for each other outweighed their respect for Akuji. Because of their infighting, they essentially helped the Saints kill him. Caution is really the main thing to look at when it comes to both of these gangs. Not caution to their enemies, but caution to each other. Whereas a color like red represents immediate danger and the feeling that you need to leave now, yellow basically says to watch yourself because the real danger is closer than you think. But I've been Ms. Hexley, and I'll see you soon.